Good afternoon, North County and Pacific Southwest family. We are happy to have you today. Thank you for joining us. We are here today to talk about your upgrade that is coming up on the 21st of September. Let me introduce you to a few of the folks that we have here today to help us out. My name is Devin Hallis. I am Director of Association Resource. I work closely with your association and staff. We have Rob Larson, our Chief Information Officer, on his team, Andy, Zach, and Paulo, here to help you today. We've got Ray Ewing, our Chief Administration Officer. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Ray, probably with Paulo too. We've got Nicole Aguilar, our Director of Marketing. She'll be helping us with asking the questions live to the group. Amy Ulloa Zuniga, she is your Director of Broker Resource, and you have heard from her today. And then we have Megan Barber, the Compliance Manager. We had some really good compliance questions our first session, so we want to make sure we've got representation on all sides. Okay, so again, Amy told you that this will be recorded and it's going to be provided to not only your respective associations, but also to you guys in a follow-up email. Please don't hesitate to use that Q&A feature. The chat feature is disabled, so you leverage that Q&A box to get in there and ask those questions because we will be answering those live. Okay, so you can see us, but we can't see you, just as also as a reminder. All right, why are we here today? We're here today because your Paragon system is going through an upgrade on September 21st. This is going to be some information of the things that you need to know ahead of time. This upgrade is going to bring you into the CRMLS standard of consistency, which is guided by the Real Estate Standards Organization. You may hear that term thrown around. That's called RESO is the acronym for that, okay? The Real Estate Standards Organization, which helps bring that standard of consistency so the data and the products work well, not only together in your system, but also to all of the other MLSs that we data share with, okay? This is being mandated, we're platinum certified, and it's being mandated across the state. And the current system that you guys are currently leveraging that you share with San Diego Association of Realtors does not meet those standard guidelines as set forth by the Real Estate Standards Organization. So that's one of the key drivers as to why we are moving forward. The other instance is that that shared system contractually is going away. So we are going to move you onto this upgraded version, and I'm going to take you through some of those features today. What I want to show you first, though, is I'm going to ask Paulo to hop into our test system and take you guys through the look and feel, because Paragon is Paragon, and I think some of the concern is that it's a completely new system with completely new everything. The look and feel is still Paragon, and I want to be able to show you that live time. Also, the reports, we had a lot of questions last session about the reports. The reports we had closely mirror what you guys currently have now. So, Paulo, if you wouldn't mind taking us through a short demonstration just to show the crew what this might look like for them, or what this will look like for them. The other thing I want to extend to you guys, I've spoken to your associations, is if you're interested in going into the system as Paulo demonstrates it, and you're interested in that, we can get you those test drive credentials. I'm going to ask each one of you to go to your respective association. If you're at North County, you can reach out to MLS@nsdcar.com. And if you're Pacific Southwest, you can reach out to rich@psar.org.org, okay? And they can get you those details if you're interested in coming into the new system and poking around. Being mindful that anything that you do in the system, whether that's adding contacts or adding a new listing to kind of get your bearings, is going to be purged on go live on 9/21. Okay, so just be mindful of what you do in there, because it's not your account, it's a shared account, okay? So, Paulo, I will defer to you to take them through a quick demo before we launch into their super helpful resource. Thank you.
Hello, so can anybody hear me okay? So basically, this is the search page on the left side of the screen. This is the the search page that we currently have for CRMLS Paragon. So as you can see, everything pretty much is the same look and feel. The only difference is you will notice like different fields like property subtype. You know, zip area is no longer a field that we have in CRMLS Paragon. So we will be using postal code, and on this particular field, you do have the option to just manually enter the actual postal code or zip code. So just giving you the idea that the search itself, the field for the search is going to be similar. The search button is where it's always been on the upper right. And then once you run the search and you get the results, it's going to be in a similar format where you have the photos, you have the action icons, the MLS number, the status, and all that. So
hey, Paulo, I'm sorry to interrupt you and jump in. We do have a few users asking if there's any way you could zoom in or make the screen a little bit larger.
sure.
And also please remember that you can toggle your screen by clicking on the Zoom there's like a toggle screen in between our screenshot as well as the screen share. So if you pull that, the screen will get larger for all of the attendees. So please make sure you use that so you can view it a little larger.
Okay, so so basically going back to the look and feel. So you know, once you run the search, you have the same results grid that you would typically land on when running the search. Everything is still customizable based on the fields that we have in the system. So all of those are pretty much similar as far as the look and feel. We did bring over the one of the highest used reports, which is the agent preferred one from SPN. You know, minor differences between the two just because of the difference in field. But we did try to bring that over here in CR Paragon so that the comfortable report that you're used to is still going to be available for you to use. And then of course we do have the all fields details that is currently available in SPN, available in CR Paragon as well. So basically the main difference would be the field set itself. And then moving over to the listing input, once again, similar field, all the fields are lined up from top to bottom, and then everything is marked with red as far as required. Add the photos is the same. So it's generally, once again, the field itself is the one that would differ. So, but the look and the feel is going to be familiar for users.
Thank you, Paulo, very much. Okay. Again, thank you, Paulo, for kind of being able to navigate through that with us. I hope that reassures some of you guys that what you're looking at is going to be the same look and feel. We're going to launch into some of those differences that Paulo was alluding to. I'm going to share my screen. So there's been a few emails that have come out. It contains a link to your resource page. This is going to be your dedicated page. Based on the feedback that we're receiving from you guys, we're continuously updating this page. So I would just be conscientious if you're looking to print some of these items out. I'm going to start sharing my screen. It looks like there was a couple questions. Nicole, was there anything to address what maybe Paulo went over while I get my screen ready?
Most of the comments were in regards to the size of the screen. Now that we're moving on, I think we won't have that issue anymore. We do have someone who's asking about what statuses are going to be available, but we do have a section in your presentation where you'll be addressing that.
Perfect. I am going to get that up here now for everyone. Okay, you guys can all hopefully see my screen. All right, so you guys have, again, your dedicated URL up here, your Paragon upgrade. As it says here, we've got you covered. I want to take you through a couple of the resources here and let you guys have a chance to navigate that after we are done with our presentation. So first and foremost, key dates to remember, 9/21, you guys will be live in your upgraded system. That is 12 days, 11 hours, 47 minutes, and 3 seconds from now. All right, so your countdown clock will continue to do just that. And the first item that you're going to hit are your important dates. I'm going to take you through some of these documents just to show you what is housed within them. Again, please keeping in mind that we are constantly updating these, moving some things around, making them a little bit easier to read, and your feedback is important. All right, your important dates. First and foremost, what I need to stress to you is that you guys have some scheduled downtime that needs to occur while your upgrade takes place. So your official launch date is Monday, September 21st at 8 a.m. What does this mean to you? Well, we need some scheduled downtime to prepare for the upgrade. What this means is Thursday, 9/17, starting at noon, you guys will be in read-only mode. So that means that add edit will be disabled. All right, so again, add edit will be disabled. Yes, we will be sending you additional communications and pop-ups and everything to make you aware of that. But what that still means, or what that means to you, is that you will not be able to add a listing into the system. You will not be able to modify a listing that is currently in the system. All right, everything will be totally locked down. You'll still have access to go into the system and search, and you'll have access to your contacts and save searches, but any changes will not carry over from that time frame, 9/17 at noon, until 9/21 at 8 a.m. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. So again, your upgrade, the full amount of time, Thursday 9/17 at noon to Monday 9/21 at 8 a.m. All right, be mindful of that. Okay, so you guys will come back up at 8 a.m. on Monday the 21st. Your ability to add and edit listings will be activated at noon that day. Okay, so essentially it's noon 9/17 to noon on Monday at noon on Monday to be able to add and edit those listings. So again, very, very key dates to remember. What we're encouraging you to do during this time up until 9/17 is to go in and take a look at your user experience. Take a look at those auto emails, or take a look at those saved searches. Take a look at those contacts. And kind of do a self-audit on the things that may not be active any longer, and kind of start doing a little bit of a cleanup to make sure that you guys are ready for this launch. Okay, so again, that's important dates. We have some FAQs here. I'm going to pop in just to show you what it looks like. We do have a lot of these FAQs are duplicated in some of the other documents, and we've covered some of it. Why the upgrade? Okay. Does it apply? The listings will still be shared between CRMLS and SDMLS. Rest assured that your data share is still in place. So you'll still see all of those SDMLS listings. Your new Paragon system, we covered that. MLS ID and password will remain the same. So no worries there. You're still going to log in the same way as well, right? Through your association website, each one respectively. And we're going to go through a lot of these other questions in another document. This is just a different way to phrase it. Okay, so we are going to hop into these other documents so that I can take you through these and leave plenty of time for your questions and concerns. One thing I want to draw your attention to is if you are a broker with offices in both CRMLS and SDMLS, there is an action item for you. You will need accounts within each MLS system that you intend to use. Okay, so if you need to create an account with either MLS provider, the information is here for you. All right, easy peasy. Okay, so kind of just to sum it up for you, because this is really what's near and dear to your heart, what's coming over and what are you going to have to get in there and set back up. All right, so what will carry over into your new user experience, into your upgraded system? Your listings, first and foremost, will be coming. Your saved searches will. Your contacts, including the name, email addresses, and phone numbers. Your email notifications will. So if you have an email notification set up, it will convert. Your preference settings, right? All the logos and your email information, right? The email signature message body. All right, so most importantly, those are things that are coming. The things that are going to be left behind, your auto notification settings, including Collab Center, favorites, possibilities, rejects, auto notification settings, okay? Your existing auto notifications will need to be manually reactivated on 9/21. All right, so there's an action item there. Custom reports, exports, data created during read only. Again, I alluded to that earlier. If there's anything that's done between that 9:17 noon time frame and your Monday 8 a.m. time frame in regards to adding a new contact or save search, that will not carry over. It will need to be recreated in your upgraded system. Your partial or incomplete listings will not be coming over. So we encourage you to get in there, and if it is contractually timed, to make sure you get those submitted prior to 9:17. Or if it's not, to make sure that you print out the criteria that you leverage so you can easily recreate that in your upgraded system. Okay, your preference settings, including market monitor flyers, search options, and results options, everything's going to be reset to an MLS default. So you'll need to get in there and reset up those preferences. Okay, so kind of a more cut and dry list. Again, we're adding and taking away and making modifications. So just being mindful if you're trying to print this out for your office or some of your agents. Any questions? I'll just pause just to see if there's anything to address right now in regards to the what will and won't carry over.
Devin, right now it looks like we're doing pretty good. Someone did have a question when you first started this in regards to saved searches and contacts. Are those going to be carried over? And it shows that yes, they will be carried over. There is a question about custom reports like CMAs. Will those be carried over or will those not be carried over?
They will not.
Okay, thank you. Someone here has a lot of searches for clients, so they're not understanding if they will carry over entirely or what changes will need to be made on launch day 9/21.
Well, searches and attached to clients fundamentally come across. They are disabled though. Those automatic emails are turned off. So you need to inspect them. We have a little prefix that we're going to put on your saved search name if it didn't convert completely. So like in the case of, say, your room dimensions, those are not coming over. If you were to have a saved search with that, that would not carry over. So your saved search will get a little flag letting you know. Whether it's got a flag or not, you need to inspect them and turn them back on. So you'll have to do that. Other than that, yes, we are carrying them over.
Thanks, Rob. Amy wants to know, what is the difference between email notifications and auto notifications?
I guess that's kind of a broad topic as far as when we're talking about saved searches in clients. Those are the automatic emails that go to your client that have changes that have occurred with the listings, whatever was in your criteria. There are many other kinds of notifications between ones you see when you log into the MLS, ones that are sent out via email by your board or CRMLS. Those are not part of the scope of what we're talking about here.
Okay, great, thank you. Devin, it looks like you could go ahead and continue.
Okay, awesome, thank you. All right, so we've gone through our important dates. Again, 9/17 at noon is your add edit offline, meaning you cannot enter any listings or make modifications to those. 9/21 is when you guys will be live in your upgraded system. Your IDs and passwords all stay the same. Okay, we went through, touched on the FAQs and what will and won't carry over. How about some good news? Because I love good news and we could all use some more right now. So let's go into our Paragon feature updates. You will also see some additional good news housed within some of the other documents, maybe just phrased in a different way. So what do you get also in addition to in your upgraded system? Okay, more photos. So you guys currently have 25 photo max. You will be going up to a 75 photo max. All right, listing distribution dashboard. This is more geared towards your brokers who will have the ability to make some selections, right? And that will be on their dashboard for listing distribution. Their listings going out the door. You will have an enhanced version of the InfoSparks tool that you have now that will include fast stats that has local market updates, monthly indicators, and annual reports. Okay, and room dimensions will be retired and CRMLS will be retired. That came in on the good news feature because we have had a lot of feedback between both associations that this was a pain point for you guys. So again, room dimensions will be retired. Okay, so that's some good news. We will continue to add to that for you guys as well. The two things that I want to get through and touch on really quickly for you are some of the key differences in Paragon. This is kind of a lengthy list. So I encourage you guys to come in and check it out. And then I'm going to go through your side-by-side rules comparison because you guys are coming into a different rule set while you do have some consistency with the citation policy. So let's launch into your Paragon key differences. Okay, some of this you're going to see is duplicative, right? We did discuss photos and we discussed the listing distribution. Another key that came up in the last presentation was this one, number 3, days on market. So days on MLS and market time do not exist in the upgraded system. The new system does not have an equivalent for that. However, your market time is equivalent and similar to our days on market. Okay, so your upgraded system will not have days on MLS or market time. It will have days on market. Okay, all right, that's the difference there. Your auto sold features. There is a link to a guide. It is designed for a matrix system. However, the functionality of an auto sold is still the same. You are going to be asked for certain criteria when you put active under contract, which again, that's in number 5. We'll get to that. In some of the new statuses that you have, you're going to be asked for an estimated close of escrow date. What we saw happening was a lot of listings that were just sitting and hanging out because there was no manual touch to them. And so auto sold was born. What will happen is it will be based off of that date that you input of the estimated close of escrow date. And once you surpass that date, you will be notified. And if no manual action is taken to the listing, then it's going to close it for you. Okay. So again, that will be a new feature for you guys. Status changes, which is on your hearts, are these. Here are your new statuses that you are gaining. You are gaining active under contract, and active under contract is based to replace contingent status. Okay, and the definition for your active under contract per CRMLS rules is when an offer is accepted and either the seller requests the property remain on market and is looking for backup offers, or the sale is subject to court or third-party approval. Okay, so that's our status definition of active under contract. Again, replacing contingent. Closed, you guys currently have sold and rented statuses for finalized listings. You will now be leveraging closed in the new system. Okay, the hold status you're gaining, and it allows you to temporarily remove your listing from an active status without having to cancel it. Okay, so again, the guide that we're providing there is for Matrix. However, the functionality and the rule set around it is the same. So what is retiring for you guys, kind of in conclusion? Your contingent, your sold, your rented, and one we haven't covered yet, which is your back on market. Okay, those will all be retiring. I know there's going to be a lot of questions after this, so I'm just going to get through these couple things, and then we'll take the Q&A on that. Okay, I want to make sure we have enough time at the end for additional questions and concerns. Okay, your property type changes. What's going to change here? Your residential 2 to 4 is now going to be called residential income in your new system. Okay, so again, your residential 2 to 4 is now residential income. I know in your system currently it is commercial representation, but it's residential income in your upgraded. You gain a new property type, which is manufactured and park. So manufactured home and mobile home that includes real estate is going to be in residential status, and those that do not include real estate will be manufactured and park. Okay, a new type in the system. We're restructuring the commercial side a little bit. So your commercial listings will change. So in your current system, you had a separate one for hotel, mobile, office, and what have you. All of that is going to appear in commercial sale, lease, or business opportunity in your upgraded system. Okay, field differences, we're almost through this. So some of the most notable field differences for you guys is going to be your neighborhood field. That's no longer going to be available. Market area field will no longer be available. Your zip area field, your zip area list is going to reside under something called MLS area in your upgraded system. Okay, so that cheese moved. Room dimension fields are discontinued. Your compensation fields, one to note are there are 2 currently in your system, and the upgraded system uses buyer agency compensation type to control that. All right, so a little bit of change there. Mello-Roos, your current system has Mello-Roos field, and the field is no longer going to be available in the upgraded system. Okay, however, that information is housed within our tax data. Okay, so you can find it. Ownership field, it will be replaced with a common interest field in your new system. Again, some of these label changes. Residential style, I know this was a big one when you guys came on board a few years ago. So in your current system, residential style indicates if it's detached or a twin home, townhome, what have you. This information is going to be determined differently in your upgraded system, and you can leverage property subtype, structure type, and common walls will dictate the residential style per se moving forward. Okay. Last thing I want to touch on before we take questions are your listing IDs. Currently, your listing IDs start with a number, and it's a series of numbers, a long series of numbers. What you will see on 921 and after is if you are North San Diego, it is going to be a prefix of ND. The P stands for Paragon, the 2 digits for the year, and then a 5-digit number at the end. Okay, so and then respectively, Pacific Southwest will be PT is the prefix for Pacific Southwest, P for Paragon, and then that same set of numbers. Okay, so again, new listing IDs. The listing IDs that are coming from your current system will remain exactly the same. Okay, so rest assured on that. Those will remain the same. Everything from 921 after is what will get the new series. Okay. Community values in the subdivision list. Your upgraded system will add the community values for San Diego County to the subdivision list. It will allow you to easily search for specific communities in San Diego County. Okay, so again, we're adding, moving, and restructuring, so be mindful if you're going to print this information out. I know that this probably generated a number of questions or comments. So Nicole, what do you have for us?
Okay, so Mello-Roos, we have someone who wants to know why is it being removed, and then another wants to know is it searchable still?
Well, the data will be carried over in the private remarks. So there is a way to search against fields like that. That's a little more advanced for our topic right now. As far as why, well, fundamentally the standard that we have, but it's a good opportunity to let you guys know about the process, because you are actually bringing it forward through our process to make the Mello-Roos part of the standard. So it will go into the committees and they'll discuss the reasons. I've heard both sides of the coin on that, and we'll go into it here, but that field is going through that process. So you may find that it comes back, or that we've got some information for your local leadership as to why it was a concern for the addition into what we call our metadata or our fields.
Thank you, Rob. And let's see here. We have someone who's asking, are we still using SCLM forms, or will there be a new feature for holding a property off market? So I don't know if Megan or wants to jump on that, or Rob.
Sure.
So Rob, I'll let you go ahead.
Okay. We, you know, there is essentially the waiver is another word for it. For you know, what typically would be an office exclusive, or a period where you're not marketing while you're, say, doing renovations. We are going to have a new process that will be coming. We need to define the timeline for you guys after we get past the conversion, and that will simplify that. So on day one, you'll continue to use your waivers. When we roll out this new, what we call registered status, if you will be simply putting in that listing contract. It's just a small number of fields to go ahead and register the fact that you have that, and you're not putting it into the MLS. And in there, you let us know if you're going to be putting into the MLS or if it'll be staying as an office exclusive.
Thank you. We do have a number of questions regarding zip code. Do the zip codes line up with MLS area? How is MLS area different and determined, and why was there a change with that?
Essentially, you were using what is a common thing known as MLS area throughout the country, and you were using it and calling it zip area. And you were essentially repeating the zip code in that picklist field. Well, elsewhere in the state and really across the country, the zip code and the MLS area aren't necessarily the same thing. So for that field, we used your zip codes as your MLS areas in San Diego County. When you put a listing outside of San Diego County, you'll find that that MLS area field is no longer just zip codes, but the areas that are designated by the folks in that area that you're putting in your listing. And then postal code is just another word for zip code. It's the standard term for zip code. And that is a separate field that you go ahead and type the number directly in.
Great, thank you. Larry wants to know, how will he convey room sizes after the new system launches?
That would be a remarks. Those fields are being completely deprecated.
Okay, thank you. Doris wants to know, for condo manufactured homes or deeded property, where is this going to show up?
So there's really what we call the three fields that define a property. There's the kind of the oldest and most common, which is your property subtype, where you say it's an SFR or it's a condo or a townhouse. But right there alone, you notice how condo and townhouse, one is describing a structure, the other is describing an ownership and kind of a structure and expectation. So to clarify that, we have our common interest field. And that's where you say whether there's no common interest, in other words, you just own the property, or if you have something like condo ownership, stock cooperative, and so on. And then you have the other field that defines the structure, your structure type. And that's where you say this is a house, or this is a multifamily. So you're, or you're saying this is a townhouse. You're much more clearly defining the property during your input. Takes a little bit of adjustment, but our folks who have adapted to this are doing really well with it, and their listings are much clearer out of the gate, and the searchability is better.
Thank you. We have a few questions, again, on the Mello-Roos topic. So Michelle wants a little bit of clarification here. Existing data will be brought over from the existing system into the private remarks field. How will that be searchable? Because many buyers either have a limit or don't want to look at properties with Mello-Roos.
Well, I'd say one of the issues out of the gate is relying on a field where you've got somebody typing in that you should go check the tax system to be certain about. And if we bring that field back, then you have that searchability. As far as doing wildcard searches and whatnot like that, we could go into that topic, but I think we'd save that for a training.
Okay. So then let's see here. We have, how do you deal with properties that have a different zip code for physical property versus a postal code? So different zip codes for physical property and postal codes.
We need to look at the particular case. The vast majority are going to be one and the same. I am aware of some cases where there's some oddities on that, but we need to look at the individual case.
Okay, great. Thank you. And if any of you guys who are asking questions do want a little bit more detail, please feel free to let us know in the chat box so someone can reach out to you. We will also leave you with our support information if you would like to give us a call and talk a little bit more in depth on a particular topic. We do have a few more questions, you guys. Regarding mobile home parks, will we have an area to add in space rent for leased land communities?
With the manufactured park is your leased, and there is a space rent in there. If you have a manufacturer that's sitting on a regular lot, we analyzed it and we did not find any that were sitting on a leased lot, although that is possible in the system. So when we convert things over, anything that was sitting on leased will wind up in a park. With new listings going forward, you can go in, do a manufactured on land, and set a type of, say that it's not a fee simple, but that you actually have a lease. So there's a field in there that's land lease, yes, no, and you would leverage that.
Great, thank you. Going back to when the system goes into read-only mode to prepare for the upgrade, Brenda just wants clarification. If a listing goes from active to pending during the 9/17 to 9/21 timeframe, will they know that?
Well, you won't be able to make that change of setting the listing into pending during that time frame.
Okay, thank you. It looks like we're doing pretty good here. I'll keep an eye out. And Devin, if you want to continue, and I'll ask some more questions after you are finished up.
Perfect. I think this next one might generate some questions as well. So we will launch right in. We do have our compliance manager on the line for some help with this, but we did a side-by-side comparison of the rules. As you know, your rule subset is different than the CRMLS version, even though you're currently housed underneath our citation policy, which is basically a fine structure for that, right? Warnings and fine structure. So we did a side-by-side. Both of the rule sets originate from the CAR model rules, but we have outlined some of the key differences. And keep in mind that there is a grace period for this. We don't expect you to come out of the gate and be able to navigate, an updated system, as well as know all of the differences in the rules. So we're going to make sure that we're very cognizant of that. So let me launch into a couple of the key differences for you, and then we'll take some additional questions. Okay, so some of the key differences right now, a listing can be entered into more than one style or property type. Our rules state that we allow one listing per property type for a specific property, okay? But it can be entered into multiple property types. I know sometimes that went along with a variance, and you guys will no longer be leveraging variances in regards to this. Your late entry, you guys have to enter in registered status or enter your listing within 48 hours. You're gonna find that a lot of the CRMLS rule subset follows a 2 business day timeline. And for the purpose of CRMLS, business days are what the old bankers hours used to be before they were open on Saturdays. So it's Monday through Friday, no weekends, no holidays. Okay, that is CRMLS's definition of a business day. All right, so you guys have 48 hours, we say 2 business days. Ours goes into a little bit further clarification in our rules that it's within 2 business days of the effective date, and the effective date is the beginning date on the agreement or the last date in which all necessary signatures have been obtained. Okay, so we clarify it even further out. And again, in this document, I'm giving you guys the actual rule number so that you can take a look at those. Okay, your listing information, listing needs to be updated within 24 hours after the authorized change. We again give you 2 business days, so there's a little bit of a gain there. Range pricing, there's a little bit of a differentiation, right? 80% of the high end versus 85 for CRMLS. New construction listings right now, there are no exceptions or separate workflows for new construction. But for the purpose of CRMLS, we have something that we refer to as an NCL, which is new construction listing. And what we define that is, sorry, my daughter came in. Among other distinctions, they're exempt from clear cooperation policy. Okay, that's one of the more finite things and the feedback that we've gotten. Expired listings, right now you guys have it in your system that they can be reactivated with a back on market status within 30 days. For the purpose of CRMLS, extensions obtained after the expiration date are treated as new listing agreements. Okay, so if you have those extensions, we need you to get those, make sure that those happen before the expiration date. Documentation, currently when documentation is called for San Diego Paragon, there's a 24-hour request. For CRMLS, it's 2 business days, okay? Reporting of sales, you guys have a 24-hour, whereas CRMLS has, that listing needs to be updated again, 2 business days. So a lot of our things follow the 2 business day rule. Contingent status, right now you guys have contingent that's leveraged, and CRMLS Paragon does not have that. We'll be leveraging active under contract, as we mentioned. And again, I gave you that definition in the previous slide, right? That the offer is accepted and then one of 2 things are going on there. Hold status, hold is not leveraged in your current system, but will be available to you in your updated version. And hold is that a valid contract exists and no offer has been accepted, okay? And it will take it off market without having to cancel it. Your photos, only photographs of the property views from the property or HOA are permitted in your current system. In your updated one, your photographs are permitted provided they're captioned. Please leverage the caption box when you are entering your photos into your updated system. Photo requirement, similar in the sense that they both ask that a front photo be submitted. You guys ask for it in 72 hours. Your updated one is 2 calendar days. This is one of our only rules that follows the calendar day rule, so just be mindful of that. Lock boxes, you guys, your current system asks for 72 hours. For Paragon, it's 1 day after the close, okay? Again, general changes, kind of scanning through. Right now, room dimensions are required. In your updated system, no requirement to include them. It's going to be removed, okay? Auto sold, we covered that in one of the previous ones, right? What will happen when you enter in that estimated close of escrow date and you surpass it? Virtual tours, currently, virtual tours that include branding are not permitted in your current system. The CRMLS updated version of Paragon will allow you to include ones that are branded, but it's permitted only where there's a specific field that's dedicated to that, okay? So making sure that you're leveraging the correct field for that. Days on MLS, we covered that, right? Your days on MLS will not exist, and days on market is what your new system will leverage, okay? We discussed that previously as well. Market time most similarly follows our days on market. But the list contract date field is equivalent to the list date in Paragon. All right, sold versus closed. Again, you guys leverage a term of sold and you will be now using the term of closed. Citation policy changes, I'm not going to run through them except for to show you that there are some citation policy changes, things that won't be eligible for a warning that currently are, violations that have a slightly different amount, there's only one of those, and then fines that are new and the fine that is associated with them. I encourage you to take a look at that, okay? So again, for your rules side by side, we pulled out the most notable ones for you guys so that you can make yourselves ready for these changes. So I'm sure that these created some questions or comments. Nicole?
Yes, ma'am. We do have quite a few people who want to focus in on room dimensions, wondering why it was removed. And also we have someone who is asking if on that topic, if the remarks field is going to be expanded to allow room for the 7 fields of room dimensions that are currently available. So if we could just expand a little bit more on the room dimensions going away and if we could accommodate it in the remarks section and how that'll all work.
Yeah, be glad to. So with regards to the question as far as the room's dimensions going away, first of all, mostly feedback. You know, the majority of the feedback we received on those fields was that they were very much disliked. And then there's questions of liability and consistency and other problems with regards to those fields. we've got feedback as far as, them not being completely required. And so searchability and the sort of natural deprecation that's been occurring with them being very problematic. So there's a collection of reasons as far as them going away. Keep in mind our process though, speak with your local MLS committee, just like the Mellarus is now sitting on our agenda for this afternoon's operational steering committee that we have that makes decisions around these things, that if that's an important thing, that's the path to bring that back in and we can review.
Okay, thank you, Rob. And any expansion of the remarks field to accommodate for the removal of the room dimensions?
I'm sorry, could you say that again? I'm getting bombarded with, turn that
Yeah,
off.
no problem. Will there be any expansion of the remarks field to accommodate for the room dimension field that's being removed?
Oh, there are several things that are going into remarks. And under the hood of remarks, so remarks will stop you. I believe we have 1275 or 1500 characters will stop you from typing. However, underneath the hood, it's actually a much larger field, something on the order of 4,000 or 8,000 characters. So there's no problem with it fitting in there. So that information will carry across if that's what the concern was.
Okay, great. On the topic of statuses for where do you put a manufactured home that is not in a park?
Manufactured home that's not in a park. And I noticed a question that went by on that as well, as far as the lease as well. So the manufactured that's not in a park, we call manufactured on land, and that's under residential. So you'll find a property subtype. And along with that, we have another field to where you let us know whether or not you have a 433 certificate. Not to be confused with manufactured in park, which is that lease situation where it is a mobile park or a manufactured park, right? There are some cases where those parks were converted into owned properly. That may be a special case. So you might want to look into that a little further. There are some gray areas, but the vast majority are going to be pretty clear one way or the other.
Okay, wonderful. And we do have someone who's asking, can we, bringing back the zip code field, can that be reviewed as well? And I think, as Rob mentioned, you want to talk to your association to bring up any specific topics.
Well, it's not going away. You actually have a little more freedom than you had with it. So you have a zip code field where you type in the zip code, and that pick list that you had is just now called MLS area, but your same list is there.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying that. And someone had asked, can we get a PDF of this document you're showing now? We do have the URL to your entire resource center listed in the chat feature of the webinar. So please make sure to visit the chat and grab that URL. All the documents that Devin is reviewing are included in that resources center. And Devin, it looks like you could go ahead and move along if you have any other topics to discuss.
Really quickly, Nicole, this has bubbled up on the last couple of webinars, and I just wanted to be very clear to everybody. The way that CRMLS works is we have over 100,000 agents utilizing our systems, and nothing is done in a vacuum here. It is all passed by working brokers, working agents, and there's a very extensive feedback process that we go through. And there's some things that may not make sense to you, may make sense to you, but we do have a pretty huge feedback loop. And part of that feedback loop are the questions that we're getting from everybody here today. So don't think it in any way is not going noticed. As Rob said, those processes and those conversations that we're having with you guys here today and with other agents across our systems are listened to, and they're brought past a working group of realtors, brokers and agents who are looking at all of your issues on a regular basis. So recognize that as things go along, our systems do change. In fact, maybe sometimes people are a little bit reticent to see as much change that comes along, but we are in an industry and a world that is changing literally on a daily basis. So we are listening, and we will continue to provide that feedback back to the groups here internally, made up of your fellow brokers and agents, to make those changes.
Thank you, Art. Matter of fact, when you all call into our help desk even, and you have something that is a suggestion for change, that goes through, we literally have the mechanism that brings that into your MLS committee for them to review and bring to us for change. So it's all about what you were asking for. We're not making stuff up in a vacuum.
Yeah, for those of you who are not aware, because I don't think you can see his face on this call, that was our fearless leader, Art Carter, our CEO, who was addressing you there. He's been on both the webinars. He always wants to keep a beat on everything, everything that's going on, from the smallest to the biggest, because he cares. And to reiterate that, we care. We understand that change is challenging, and I think we've probably had enough since March, but we're going to make this as smooth and seamless for you guys as possible, and continue again to update and upgrade this information for you guys. And all of our resources are at your disposal, right? If you go to your AOR, they're coming to us. Please leverage the support. We have our support line. You can come in through chat, email, or phone call. We have our compliance team ready to help, right? If you're reading some of these, for instance, and you're not sure how to make heads or tails of it, and you have some questions or concerns, they are ready to hear you via chat or via email. So again, we just want to reiterate that we're here for you. We have about 5 minutes left, and I'm done with mine, just again, driving home that you guys have this resource page that will continuously be updated as new things come in, as we take the feedback from this presentation. So we will always make sure to check back to this site. With the additional 5 minutes, are there some additional questions or concerns in regards to any topic, maybe something we didn't discuss here, or something you guys would like to see? We have a few more minutes with you. So Nicole, you see anything that might fit the bill?
We have one question outstanding at this point in regards to where do you find the special class for converted manufactured park to land home condo status?
Those are one of those edge cases that I was mentioning. Where that would fit in is your manufactured on land under residential and a common interest type of condominium. But again, you need to take a look at that scenario and make sure that this isn't a proper park. But if you actually have ownership of the lot, most likely that's where you belong. And you can always call in for further assistance on that.
Great, thank you. No outstanding questions at this point.
All right. Okay, well, we finished something with 4 minutes to spare. We did record this, so this will go out in a follow-up email to you guys, the recording will, so that you guys can review it at your convenience. We also will be having the same type of presentation next week on the 15th. We are going to host one from 10 to 11 and one from 2 to 3. So please encourage your fellow agents to pop on in. We want to make sure we get in front of them before they're offline. So to summarize, we have the important date to remember, 9/17, right? September 17th at noon. You guys will go offline for your ad edit. You will not be able to make any modifications or additions to listings to the system. You'll still have searchability, but anything that you guys do from 9/17 at noon on will not carry over, okay? So if you get in there and you make a change to one of your contacts, an email address or what have you, after 9/17 at noon, it will not carry over into the new system. Okay, so just be conscientious of that. Again, that's through the weekend. You won't have that access. You'll come back up 9/21, September 21st at 8 a.m. You'll be able to log into your system the same way that you do now. And then you will have your access restored to your listings at noon. We will not be sending the MLS police after you for any compliance issues. Again, there's going to be a grace period while we get you up and running and familiarized with your upgraded system, as well as with the learning of the new rules. Our compliance team is going to host some things host some Zooms at the association level, and we're always available for broker offices too. For this type of presentation, right, getting in front of you about the upgrade, as well as the compliance side. So we remain open and available to you guys. Thank you for your time today. We so appreciate it. I know an hour is a lot to listen to one person drone on and on. Sorry. But again, I hope you guys have an amazing week, amazing short week. And thank you to my team, who is wonderful as usual. And we will hopefully see you guys next week. Take care.